want to tell you something. Don't be scared.
It's midnight, baby, just us two, no bright lights, nothing to prove. Your handshake, mine do too, but it feels right being close to you.
Come closer, don't look away. We both know why you came to stay. Your heart beats loud, I hear it too. This moment's a little taboo.
Don't rush it, move slow, feel the heat start to grow. If you want me, let it show. Tell me soft, tell me low. Taboo, taboo.
Midnight with you.
Hello and welcome everyone back to another Charm Chats and Happily Ever After Sprints all month. We'll be here hosting fantasy romantasy authors. I'm so glad for everyone that's here for today's conversation. I'm Shannon, writing under the pen name of SC Huston, and you're here on my YouTube channel where I run weekly writing sprints. I'm also the founder and conference chair of the AuthorTube Writing Conference, now heading into its 5th year, which we will have a live stream about that on Friday, where we will talk about what that will look like as a one-day event versus the 3-day event we've had for the last few years. And then besides what I do here on YouTube, I am also an epic romantasy author who loves writing about broken characters, brutal choices, and love that refuses to let go in worlds of dangerous magic, sharp edges, and the occasional dragon. Today, I am welcoming back Adam Gaffen, who we've had here back in February of 2024. I was so happy to see him back. And it's always fun to welcome returning authors and see how their writing has grown. And Adam Gaffen is an award-winning author and creator of the Cassidyverse, an interconnected story world spanning science fiction, fantasy, thrillers, and romance. His work is home punk and inclusive, centered on found family, rebellion, and characters who choose compassion and courage in broken systems. With more than 30 published novels, Gaffen's stories range from intimate origin tales, The Spark Before the Fire, to sweeping long arc capstones, The Eternity Protocol. He is a frequent convention guest and panelist, known for engaging readers and helping them find the perfect entry point into a shared universe where every story matters. He lives in Colorado and writes full-time. And so welcome back, Adam. I'll let you add anything else that you want to say. I think it's fascinating what we were just talking about on the back end. People who are here, there's some people here that part of my audience know that I wrote a whole bunch last year. So this year I'm publishing a whole lot. Adam is coming out on the other end of that. So I think that was really interesting. So if you want to talk about that, we have a lot of writers here. We'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so at the end of 24, I had been writing and writing and writing and writing. And I had a bunch of books which were in at various stages getting ready to edit. And so last year, it allowed me to release, 2 duologies, a collection of short fiction, 5 standalone novels, all from June on. So that it's a whole thing. It really is a whole thing, because you have to make that commitment. Okay, I'm going to write.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting anything out. It's okay. There's going to be a whole bunch coming, because there's always that nagging voice in the back of your head saying, you haven't put anything out in a while. Don't let the readers forget about you. So, to get around that, my newsletter subscribers get a short story. So I was writing and getting something out in front of my readers on a regular basis. They just had to wait a little bit for the big stuff. And the first one last year, the one that kicked off everything last year, was Dating to Die For.
Oh, it's a good book to kick off on too, because I really love this book. I didn't remember a whole lot about your other book. I remember thinking, oh yeah, that was decent. Not that it was bad or terrible or anything like that, but just it didn't stick in my head. This one I think will stick in my head for a long time. So I was talking about it in my sprints this morning, how much I really liked it. So, and I told my gym trainer too, and he was like, oh, what's the, because he reads a lot. So he took the title. So I don't know if, you might have a sale on that one, but yeah, I really enjoyed the book. I also think it's interesting because there's a few people here that Devin, last year, was trying to do 25 and 25, which is 25 stories in 2025. And some of it, she was trying to do a story a month, which that's kind of what you did with your newsletter, is that you wrote a story for every newsletter, but you had 2 a month. And I was like, wow, that's a lot. And I asked all the questions. So I was like, wait, how did you do that? So it's 500 to 4,500 words is what he was saying is what he did per newsletter twice a month. And that's still had things going out to his readers in that way. So if you guys have any questions for the author, we'll be moving into his book next here in just a moment. Please put Q before your questions so that I can find it easily. But I will be going through all the comments. And Devin was the first one here. Hello, and Mrs. Doubtfire voice. Wanted to hop in while I had time before my son's concert, and I have violin lessons tonight. Nice. And then, of course, Adam said hello. And that's Adam's website. I did pin it to the top in case if you want to check out his website. Adeshale, who's going to be on later this month. You guys are my only two males in the month, so I'm like happy to have some male authors. It's nice to get other perspectives. Even especially in romance, it's mostly dominated by women. So, and Devin says woo woo. And then I said tech issues. Yeah, beats away tech gremlins. It happens. Hello, says GC. Hello. Just don't hit the computer with that broom. Oh, and Devin says, right? That's what I just said. And Devin, and wow. Oh, cute. What is your approach to writing? You wrote a lot of books. Are you meaning well, I'll let you answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think I can quantify it specifically. I write, basically, there are three major characters in the Cassidyverse. One drives the science fiction side, one drives the fantasy side, and another one is currently driving the contemporary side. And depending on who's shouting at me the loudest, that's who I listen to, and that's the next book that gets written. So currently, Dakota Chase, who is the contemporary, she's been demanding that I tell the story of one of her heists, and so that's the book. That's the novel I'm working on now.
Okay. And then Adesha asked, how do you manage so many universes? And if I understand correct, you just have one universe, but all your stories tie into this one universe.
Right. It is just one universe. Fantasy, science fiction, contemporary, all of that. It's all one universe, which means I have characters bleeding over from book to book, as you noticed in Dating to Die For.
Yeah.
So it actually makes it easier. Since it's all one universe, I have one set of rules to obey. I have one set of, I don't have to worry that, in this magical universe, these are the rules in the world building, that magic works this way, but in this universe, it works a different way, and I can't cross them. It's all one universe. So
yeah, that makes it easy. And then Deb says, the girl in the scope popped up somewhere as a rec for me. It's currently sitting in my TBR. So there we are. Reading the universe.
Glad to hear it. A Girl in the Scope it's technically science fiction because it's set about 80 years from now. But you'll recognize the setting immediately. Things haven't changed that much. People are people. Marie Fontaine, if you think of her as a female James Bond, you're not going to be far off. She's on her last mission, and she is seriously burned out, and she discovers that she may have been playing for the wrong team.
Oh, that's not something to know at the end of your career.
No.
Thoughts on using a pen name? It's something I've thought about as a guy who writes romance, not sure how challenging it might be.
Honestly, I'm not sure how to use a pen name. And since it's what I put out there is just, it's under my name. It's, people can take it or leave it. I have readers who read the science fiction side of my universe and don't touch the fantasy side. That's fine. I have people who are reading the contemporary stuff and don't want to know anything about the science fiction. Again, perfectly fine. But if it's all out there under my name, then there are no guessing games. There are no, oh, hey, doesn't this sound like so-and-so's writing? So, I'm the wrong person to ask about a pen name.
I do remember again, I don't remember the full book that I read 2 years ago, but I do remember thinking, oh, wow, you write women really well. Because that's something that a lot of people will get on men writing women, especially in romance, that's not done so well sometimes. I think we might have even talked about this. I feel like we talked about this back then, but I don't quite remember what the story was and how. I do remember thinking that, but and for Dating to Die For, I was like, I could have easily thought this was a woman writing a woman's perspective. It was so well done. So yeah. And of course, there's the inverse too, that, it's coming out more about women being able to write men and in men's perspective as well. But, okay, sold. Ooh, a female James Bond. I'm loving what I'm hearing. And right, Devin? And yes. It's a great answer. You were the person to ask about pen names.
Well, I'm glad I was able to answer it for you. And The Girl in the Scope, my narrator, it's been a whole saga, which I will lay out in one of the newsletters once the book is actually out as an audiobook. But it's this close to being ready. So I'm very excited for that to come out because I love hearing how a narrator brings the book to life.
Do you have like a direct link of your newsletter? Is that in your links?
So if they go to my website, they can sign up for the newsletter.
Okay, so I've already dropped that. You also had this other link that said links, so I didn't know if it was underneath there too. All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk about dating to die for. But we'll start off with my question. I'd like to start off with, but change it slightly because you were here before. So when you were in the show a couple years ago, you mentioned that your first fantasy romance project actually started as an anthology submission that grew into something much bigger than expected. Looking back now, what do you think keeps pulling you back to Romantasy as a genre?
The challenge. So I may have a slightly different definition of romantasy than anyone else, but it works for me. For me, a romantasy is a book where the fantasy side and the romance side cannot exist independently of the other.
Okay, so that is the same definition that the K-Lectics guy is giving to it, which is what a lot of people go by, and that's what I go by as well.
Okay, so so writing that kind of a story, which the Book of One, which you read a couple years ago, does, and Dating to Die For does, you can't, you couldn't take the Grim Reaper aspect out of Dating to Die For and have the story stand on its own. It would fall apart.
Yeah.
But you can't take the romance side of it out and have it work.
It would be a whole different story. It would
be an entirely different story. Yeah. So it is, even though I tend to think of it as either a romantic comedy or a urban fantasy, it is also a romantasy because it straddles those two perfectly. So I appreciate the challenge. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I have unified this universe, because of the challenge. It's like, okay, how do you write a dragon shifter into a starship?
Right.
It can be done. It really can be done, but you have to be very careful in how you set up the rules.
Yeah. All right. So the premise to Dating to Die For starts off with a first date gone wrong. I mean, actually, the first date went well. It just did in right, and immediately pulled us into the afterlife. What was the spark for that idea, and how did you decide to blend dating culture with Reaper lore?
So my wife and I were sitting around, and we were talking, and one of us, and I don't remember who, so equal credit to each of us, I guess, came up with the idea of a dating app for Grim Reapers, and that's how they choose their next, their next client. I'm not going to say victim because it's not. Victim implies that the Grim Reaper is somehow the villain.
Murdering. Yeah.
Yeah.
You make that distinction very clear in the book. It's not murder. It's these people are passing on. Anyways, your job there is to help them pass on to transition to the next part.
Yes, it's facilitating, and it's a job. I mean, it really is, it's a job with benefits and pay and, and the best coffee on earth.
I thought of this show too. It's been a few years since I watched it, but have you ever watched Dead Like Me? It's a very similar concept.
No, actually, I have not watched Dead Like Me. I am peripherally aware that there was a show of that title, and that's about it. I don't watch a lot of television. There aren't enough hours in the day.
Yes, exactly.
to watch television.
That's the way I feel. So we've got another question here for you. So do you have two different newsletters? How do you divide that?
Nope. Excuse me. Just going to hang up on that spam call. So no, I only have one newsletter. So because I only have one universe.
Yeah.
So the people who get my newsletter, they get, exposure to the science fiction side. They get exposure to the fantasy side. When I'm doing book promotions, and giving my readers, their free books, I make sure that it's not just not just science fiction, not just fantasy, not just romance. There are a variety, because I know I have a variety of readers, and I would like to give all of them something in any given newsletter.
Thank you for everyone who's popping in. I see that Elsa and Chantal has stopped in. Say hello. I appreciate that. All right. Ask the next question here. Lila is thrust into a job she never asked for with real moral weight behind it. When you are writing her, what ethical questions about death and choice were the most interesting for you to explore through her perspective?
Well, we touched on it a little bit,
Yeah, we did.
that she has to get used to the idea that this is, she is a facilitator.
Yeah.
This person is going to die no matter what she does. And she doesn't actually kill them. The Reapers are not there to end any given life. That's handled by another department. She's just there to make sure that the soul is separated from the body and moved on to wherever they're going next. And she has nothing to do with any destinations. It's just, getting from point A to point B, getting from the body to the transition portal, and then she moves on. And so her wrapping her head around that whole idea, first of all, that the afterlife is a real thing, and it has a very functional bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Takes some time, and then all of this has been going on all around her all of her life, and she hasn't noticed any of it, and now she's part of it, and she actually starts to appreciate the job.
I really love how the book balances humor with the darker supernatural themes. And this really could have been a much darker book because of the supernatural themes in Grim Reapers. But I don't think it ever really went dark. It really wasn't. So I think I definitely believe it has the right approach. And I think it's in the blurb. And it did make me think of The Good Place. The humor is very much like The Good Place. But so how did you approach finding that tone to keep it fun while without undercutting the emotional stakes?
Humor is the way that we deal with things, right? Heinlein said it in A Strange Land, which is, we laugh because it hurts too much not to. It's how people deal with pain. And I went into the book thinking, okay, this is going to be a romantic comedy. So I was deliberately aiming to have that light tone. I wanted it to be amusing. I want, Lila's culture shock as she deals with death's bureaucracy. That's comedy gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went into it, and so the darker side, the thought-provoking side, the questions about what's really going on behind the curtain, they crept in. They got added in to give it that grounding, but it kept going back to being a comedy.
Yeah. I think it was well done the way it was revealed, the different parts of it. So Reapers in the afterlife have been explored in lots of different ways in fiction. What was important to you when creating your version of the Reaper system and its rules?
I like the idea that being a Reaper is just a job.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just one being.
Right.
That's really okay. Yes, we're already punching holes in credulity, right? By positing the whole afterlife and this and the other thing, but having just one Reaper taking care of every death, that was pushing it too far. So if you have multiple Reapers, you're going to have, how do you set it up? Okay, well, you're going to need a bureaucracy to handle it, just because there's too much work for any one person to do. So it all spun naturally from that.
Okay. And so romance plays alongside Lila's transformation and her new responsibilities. How did you think about weaving in that romantic tension into a story where time, death, and consequences were always looming?
So I had to give Lila an out, right? So at the beginning, she's offered the choice, look, you can take the job or you're going to die. These are your two choices. So she takes the job, but she has to have an out. That's a pretty common trope, right? There's the opportunity for escape. And so her opportunity for escape is to have a client and for her to fall mutually in love in 72 hours. And so it couldn't be somebody at random. It couldn't be something that she was looking for. That's why I wrote, pretty much the first half of the book is her getting used to the job and her discovering that she's actually pretty good at it.
Yeah, she's really good at talking to people because she's fairly likable.
And her, she has her little moments of rebellion, Charlie.
Yeah.
But overall, she's getting into this job that she never expected to get into. And that's why I think that the romantic element later works, because she hasn't been searching for it. It just happens to show up on her doorstep. And,
in a way, it's kind of like a second chance romance, though, because she had a crush on this guy before. So, yeah.
And he had a crush on her. They just neither of them ever acted on it.
Right. All right. I'm trying to see if we, I don't see any other questions here. I'll say hello before I ask you the last two questions I have for every author. I'll say come in saying hello. How are y'all doing? Stream hopping a bit while working my new live stream setup and doing well. Great to hear. And that's when she asked, have you ever seen Dead Like Me? And then she was like, hours? We have time? I think that's when you were talking about how you you don't watch a lot of TV because, we don't have a lot of hours. So Chantel stopped me in. And then I think that was the Hello Moto ringtone. Awesome. I haven't heard that in a long time. And then Devin says to Ashley, I have 5 newsletters, which I know one of those is the Author Tube Writing Conference newsletter. And one's her author newsletter. I don't know what her other ones are. What? Slow blink. Adding this to my book list too for May Sci-Fi Readathon. So, 5 newsletters. My goodness, I don't know how she does 5 newsletters. I thought she just did 2, author and then the one for the conference. Oh, see, watching TV helps feed my inspiration for my writing. I had to make time for TV. So I can kind of feel this one too. But when I'm in a writing mode, like when I got tons and tons of stories and I just need to write, I don't need to watch TV. But then when I start getting burnt out, and I don't get burnt out from writing, I usually get burnt out from like the admin and from like the conference and everything else. Then I need time to just veg, and then I'll watch TV, and then I'll get inspiration for writing for parts of my writing from the TV. So
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, reading is my recharge instead of watching TV.
But I read every day. So
yeah. And so do I. I mean, I have my handy dandy little Kindle.
Yeah. I used to do it on my phone, but yeah. Well, if I add, I forgot All Call Indie. All Call Indie is something she put together that indie authors can go there and find somebody for every part of the writing process and publishing process to help out. So AWC, that's 7 newsletters. Oh, you didn't add those 2 in. That's 7.
Right. That's 1 a day. She works on 1 a day.
Wow. I read every day too. Yeah. Yeah. Reading is just something I just do naturally.
Mhm.
I do use it when, like at the end of the year, I always take a month off from mid-December to mid-January. I always take a month off, and typically that looks like me reading, sleeping, reading, sleeping, reading, sleeping the whole time for like the first 2 weeks. So, I read during the ad breaks while watching TV because I don't pay for the subscriptions with no ads.
So, JC, I'll tell you, we're so old school. We have one subscription to Netflix, and then the other TV that we get, we actually have a digital antenna.
Wow. Yep. That's
So,
old school.
we're not paying for cable. We're not paying for 9 million subscriptions. It's just like, oh no, 2 subscriptions because my wife is a big football fan. She's a bigger football fan than I am. So we have NFL, so
NFL.
that she can rewatch the entire season's worth of games.
Oh, I don't like watching the first time. I want to rewatch. Oh, I love that, says JC. I watch more documentaries than regular TV shows. Movies are for the weekends. I mean, I typically, if I'm working on admin, I typically have like a YouTube video going. There's a few channels I really like Tail Foundry, where it digs into the psychology of story and why we like it as humans. So I dig into things like that on YouTube while I'm doing admin, but I don't watch movies usually ever. I have to make time for it. It's usually my son saying, "Mom, I want to watch a movie with you." I'm like, okay. I'm not really watching it usually. I'm like reading on my phone. But yeah, okay. So we'll come to the last couple questions here. Last time you were here, I asked about your favorite romantasy author, and you mentioned Rachel Renner. So instead of asking you the same question, I would love to know who is a romantasy author you're really enjoying reading right now, or someone you've read recently that you would recommend.
Oh, so Ruby Rowe, her Girl Games series, it's a 3-book series. I would, it's not quite romantasy because you could separate them,
So like
but
romantic
they are
and-
very well interwoven. Very heavy on the spice. And then Rebecca Thorne. Now, Rebecca is one of those rare birds. She hit it big as an indie author with like her 15th book.
Oh wow.
Can't spell treason without T. And got a big 5 publisher to pick her up. And so, so there's that. She writes fantastic books. The Tomes and Tea series is complete. That's 4 books. But she, like me, also writes science fiction. And so, and her science fiction has fantastical elements in it as well. It's borderline steampunk sci-fi with some unexplainable stuff thrown in. So, and much like Rachel, I've gotten to know Rebecca over the past couple of years. So I'm always, when I'm out doing a signing at a bookstore, I'll be wandering around, and saying, "Oh, what do you like to read?" And if I can't recommend one of my own books, I'll direct them to one of Rebecca's, just because I enjoy those books myself, and just doing a fellow author a solid.
Okay. And also last time I asked you about your favorite fantasy or romance trope, and you mentioned opposites attract with Grumpy Sunshine, where they reach a middle ground, finding things they have in common. Is it still a favorite for you, or are there any other tropes that you're especially obsessed with right now?
I'm not sure that there are any that I'm obsessed with. I mean, enemies to lovers is another good one, or rivals to lovers. But I don't go looking for a particular trope in a book, and I'm not about to put a book down just because a particular trope is in it. I go strictly by, does it work? Does it work for the story? Did the writer craft it well? Did they make it believable? And if so, okay, I'm down. Let's see where it goes. And if not, that's not going to stop me from reading something with the same trope later.
Yeah. Do you find yourself gravitating to writing one trope more than others? whether fantasy or romance or maybe even sci-fi?
I find
Oh wait,
that
didn't your bio had found family?
there's a lot of found family, because when all right, so a lot of fiction, especially genre fiction outside of romance, you have the hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
We all know, Luke Skywalker's story. We all know Frodo's story. There's a mirror image of that. It's called the heroine's journey.
Yeah, there's actually a book for it.
Yep. Yep. Gail Carriger wrote a fantastic book
Yeah.
explaining the heroine's journey. And so the heroine's journey and hope punk, which is the subgenre of sci-fi and fantasy that I write in, actually fit together hand in glove.
Mm.
And so my, found family shows up an awful lot because that's part of a heroine's journey. The reconnection, the making the connections, building the network, getting like-minded people together. But I also find that there are a lot of redemption arcs, and they may be multiple books long, but something happened and sent them off on this journey, and finally we get the resolution umpteen books later.
Yeah. I like the heroine's journey. I used it for my my fantasy trilogy that I published years ago. So, yeah. Alrighty. Well, I have asked you all the questions. I don't see any other questions in the chat. There's a lot of chat going on, but I'm going to have to move along so that we don't overstay the hour and a half that I promised Adam. That would be like the max for us. So I don't see anything there. It's for you. They're just talking about, reading physical versus paperbacks versus audiobooks. And then, and Hollingsworth, Al Hollingsworth came in. Hello. Welcome. And then I didn't say Kaufman's name, but I did throw that up there on the screen, but Kaufman had also stopped in. So, okay. So next we're going to move on to the next section. Find the right button here. Fun and games is what we have. This is author's choice, reader's choice. And he chose Would You Rather questions, which is a very popular one with a lot of the, with the authors. So in this one, everyone in the chat, you can also play along and let us know what choices you would make. And I did try to make these kind of around the idea of Adam's book. So, would you rather go on a blind date with a guy or girl who turns out to be a grim reaper? He or she's hot, and he or she may take your soul. Or a date with a totally normal guy or girl who brings his or her mother along to critique your outfit.
I'll go with the Grim Reaper. Thank you very much. No. No, Mom, you
stay
home.
All right. Grim Reaper. I go with Grim Reaper too. All right, next one. Would you rather go on a perfect first date with someone who might literally kill you, or a painfully awkward date with someone completely safe but boring?
Oh, live large. Go for the perfect date, because it may or may not.
Right, it says might literally kill you. May not.
Mm-hmm.
You might eat some dessert beforehand and kill you with it. With your allergy. See, what do we have here? Devin said, yeah, bring on the venture, Green Reaper it is. Date with guy mother. Oh, Devin's like, kill me. Perfect date with possible serial killer. 1A, the blind date, an experience to die for. Sounds good. All right, next one is, would you rather have a dating app that notifies you exactly when your date is going to die, or a dating app that notifies you exactly why your date got dumped by their last ex?
I think the latter. I think I'd rather know why they got dumped.
Yeah, same.
Although I'll talk to Avereth about adding that first part into the Flare app.
There you go. Notifies you exactly when your date is going to die. Oh, I love that. The second one. Yes. I agree. All right. Would you rather have 72 hours to make someone fall in love with you to save your life, high pressure, or have eternity to find a soulmate, but you're stuck in a bureaucratic afterlife waiting room the whole time?
I think I would go with the patience.
I think I would too, because the other one would be too high pressure. But I'd have to
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably make a bunch of stories in my head while I was in there, unless I could write them down. Let's see. I want to know why they got dumped. Let me know the red flags up front. I would like to know why they got dumped too, says Devin. I think the former is just TMI. This is number 3. Would you dating app, yeah, or get dumped by the last ex? Yeah. Then I'd feel responsible. B sounds good. Why did he get dumped? 72 hours, JC picks. I'm pretty lovable, I think. Oh, I think so too. Responsible to tell them, but then not sure if I should. Then I'd go back and forth for a while. Ashley, you're thinking too. Have you
No
seen
pressure.
the anime?
No pressure.
Right, no pressure. Have you seen the anime Future Diary? Very deathy notes from the future. I don't really watch. Well, I don't watch a lot of TV, and I don't really watch anime. But I don't know. Do you watch anime at all, or have you seen it? No. Okay.
No.
No. I know my son likes it. I just found that out. Where did I leave off? Okay, here. Would you rather work for the underworld's HR department, filing paperwork for billions of souls to the dial-up computer, or work as a reaper where you have to awkward talk people into crossing over? I mean, that's just Lila all day, but
Okay, you had me in. I'll go ahead and I'll take the field work. Thank you.
the field work as a reaper?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. It suck. Not my thing. I'm not sure which one I would do here. I don't know. I guess probably I'd do the Reaper too. All right. Would you rather date Ethan, the charming immortal who knows the secrets of the universe but has major baggage, or Daniel, the sweet, clueless mortal who brings you flowers but has no idea you're fighting for your life? I really liked Ethan for her in the beginning. I know she kept calling him grandpa, or grandfather, but yeah.
Yeah, but Ethan's not interested in. Yeah, he had his romance. He's not interested in another.
I
So
know.
that's I think why she really picked up on the. She started with the big brother and then settled on grandpa once she found out
Right.
how old he actually was.
Right.
So there's got to be. You can pick up on vibes from somebody, right? So Daniel would be giving off the vibes of, hey, there's possibility here, and Ethan would not.
Yep. Oh, Beetlejuice. Yeah, I did think about Beetlejuice when I was reading some parts of this book. I thought of Beetlejuice. That's a hard one. I'm not a fan of baggage. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't. I put that in there for you guys, but in the book, he doesn't really have baggage. He's not even a potential love interest. I just thought it was interesting to put him up against Daniel. His baggage is that he already lived his life. He already had a wife, grandkids that he got to see and play with before he passed on and everything. So not really baggage but okay. Would you rather fall for someone who attracts supernatural danger everywhere they go, or someone so cautious it kills the romance?
Oh, let's go with a little bit of supernatural danger.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah, there's safe and then there's boring.
Right. Yeah. Would you rather discover your date is a vampire who forgot to mention it, or a necromancer who talks about their work way too much?
Let's go with the vampire who forgot to mention it. I
I
mean,
go with vampire too.
it's gonna play hell with scheduling, but at least it's just, oh yeah, sorry, I'm really interested in you, but I've got this type O addiction.
But LOL to the second option. Yeah. Yeah, right? I mean, okay. Would you rather have to carry a massive, conspicuous, is it scythe?
Scythe.
Scythe. I never know how to say that word. Scythe. Conspicuous scythe everywhere you go, grocery store, bathroom, dates, or wear a cloak that makes you invisible but extremely itchy and smells like sulfur? None of these are good choices.
Yeah.
I think I'd go with
I'll go with the scythe, especially if I can have one that does what Lila's does.
yeah, because she can turn it into other things.
You know, that would make it really easy. But sulfur, no, I just no.
Yeah,
I mean,
or itchy.
the itchy is bad enough, but the sulfur, no.
Mhm. Devin says scythe for sure. I live in Midwest. I'll go with the cloak. Would you rather spend eternity in an afterlife that looks like a never-ending DMV line, boredom, or an afterlife that looks like a chaotic high school cafeteria, social drama?
Yeah, well, we'll try the cafeteria, and
I would go with
there's only so much of that boredom that you can take, and at least with the cafeteria, you're gonna get some variety.
yeah. I would definitely go with the never-ending DMV line because I do not like social drama. So I know it wouldn't be drama, but I don't want it. I do not want it. I wouldn't be boring, but yeah. Scythe, I need to rewatch Soul Eater. Sorry, anime reference. The cafeteria. At least there I might get some food. Oh my gosh, I should know. He's our foodie here on YouTube. He loves food. And he bakes breads and stuff like that. No drama llama. Yeah, same. I don't want the drama. Would you rather tell your date on the first night, I work for the Grim Reaper, or wait until the wedding day to whisper, by the way, I'm technically dead?
I think it's probably a good thing to get out of the way early.
Same. For the relationship purposes, the first one is the best one.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's something you plan to keep doing, then if they run off screaming into the night, then there wasn't a future there.
Right. Yeah. Adeshle says the first one. Let's go for great conversation. I'd say it up front.
It would certainly be an interesting conversation.
Yes, it would. Would you rather know the exact time of your death but be unable to change it, or know the exact time everyone else will die but be forbidden from telling them?
Wow, both of those suck.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, no, I'll just tell me. I'll have that information. Then I can plan. I can't change it, fine, but that'll be the okay. There will be no regrets, and the bucket list will be ticked off. Get it all done, because knowing when other people are going to die and not be able to tell them anything, and that would just, I can't imagine the anguish that would put somebody through.
Yeah. At first, I would have said, not same thing. I'm good with not knowing my own, but yeah, not being able to tell anybody. Gosh, what kind of mental place would that put you? So, yeah. All right. Would you rather have to fall in love to save your own life, or have to help two strangers fall in love to save their lives?
I think I'll work. I'll work on their lives. I think I'll see what I can do to help them.
Same. Would you rather reap souls using a terrifying traditional hood and blade, or reap souls using a corporate PowerPoint presentation titled "So You're Dead, Next Steps"?
Oh, I could have fun with that.
Right.
Congratulations, you're dead. What do you do now?
Right. Maybe that should be like the next step up in the business of reaping.
Well, I've actually gone back to Lila a couple of times for short stories. Um, it, it's a interesting place to mine ideas from.
Trying to see if there's any other ones here, because I know we need probably go ahead and get started with our sprint. So let me do one more, figure out which one I like out of all of these. I feel like some of these we've kind of had similar ones. All right, I'll choose this one. Would you rather be immortal and lonely forever, or live a short mortal life filled with the most intense, perfect romance imaginable?
Mortal.
Yeah, mortal. Yep.
There are too many stories out there which explore the idea of outliving everyone you love, outliving everything you cared about, and what it does to that character. No thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I often think about, because I have a lot of immortal people in my world, and I often think about, like, what does that do to the psyche to be around that long? You know, right? Although true, you can write all the
Yes,
romance.
but I mean, yeah, but how dark would those books be after a while?
That's true. All righty. Well, we are going to move into the next part, which is the happily ever after sprints. And Adam chose to have a prompt given ahead of time, which is: a witch who brews emotions instead of potions accidentally sells a vial meant for grief to someone who has never been able to feel love. I think this is very interesting. So I'm going to put it in the ticker.
Yeah,
So if anyone wants that. Hmm?
I've been kicking ideas around on that, so I think I have a good idea where I want to go with this.
And for everyone in the chat, you don't have to do this with us. You can if you want to. We're not going to read it on air or anything, our pieces. We're just going to work on this as something new to work on. If you want to work on anything else, whether reading, writing, housework, coursework, day job, or just taking care of you, use this time to be as productive as you want to be. I think I want to take this prompt. And I'm also going to drop it in the chat for anybody who wants to grab it from there. Just have to find the right buttons. Okay, we'll do 30 minutes on the clock. Find the right button again. In 3, 2, 1, and good luck.
All right. See y'all on the other side.
Bye-bye.
And that is time. How did you do?
Pretty well. Pretty well. I mean, it's definitely a flash. It's not going to be anything longer, but a little over 600 words.
Oh, nice. You type?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I dictated. I I thought mine was gonna be a flash too. I'm like, oh boy, this could be a book. So I just I was like, "Ugh." I'd have to change the witch to make it because I'd wanted it to fit into my world, and there aren't witches yet at this point. There will be later, but not until I write my final series in this world. But then my final series will kick off another series in the same world, but magic will be different, and that's when witches will come in. So right now it's just like fae and other magical creatures that have magic. So yeah, I don't know what I'll do, but I definitely I like the idea. Actually, it turned out better. What did you decide for your setup? Like, who's getting the grief potion and why?
So I have the witch mixing potions, which are not actually potions. She brews emotions,
Right. Yeah.
and customer comes in. The customer comes in wanting to feel, and so she grabs the potion from behind her, saying, "Okay, this will make you feel," and then realizes that she gave him the wrong potion.
So, do you have a working title?
Unlabeled.
Unlabeled. Okay. I don't really like mine right now. It's just called The Prince Who Cannot Love. So the prince is making a political match. He's never felt love. He goes for a love brew. He gets the grief, and then he finds out that it really stems from that it's not that he can't love, is that his mother, the queen, abandoned him when he was little. So he's just never been able to love. So then the grief pulls all this out, and the witch is like with him, trying to help him, and and he does like the princess that he's supposed to get married to. He really respects her. He wants to give her a love marriage because that's what she wants. But he falls in love with the witch. But then he's asked, I really need the love potion so I can have this political match for our kingdoms, because there will be political instability. And so she makes the love potion, but she leaves. And so then he does the love potion, falls in love with the princess, but the princess recognizes it and says, nope, you need to go follow her. You actually love her. And so that's what I've kind of like in my head came up with the whole, but I haven't written all of it yet. That's just what was thinking in my head.
Yeah, mine is, just like I said, I think it'll end up being, a nice little flash. And like I put in the chat, if I'm happy with it, it'll be the story that shows up in the newsletter this weekend.
Oh, yay. So go sign up for Adam's newsletter to see what he wrote.
Yeah.
Andy stopped in. Hello, hello. My short's titled Emotions and Potions. Oh, I love that. Edna's Apothecary. Mine's unlabeled. Oh, you did. You put unlabeled. Gotcha. And as is your email. And hello, Tish. How's it going? Hey, Tish. Hey, JC. I love that writing prompt. Great hook. Yeah. Yeah, that prompt is a really good idea for a book, Shane. Right? Not that I need another book to write, but I agree with you both. Waffles for Andy. And then want to read this next not so short story. Right? So additionally, we both joke that we can't write short. We've both tried to write short, like at different points. Like, I practiced writing short last year, and I was able to get 8. The first time I tried to write a short story, I wrote a novella, and then I tried again, and then I ended up writing 8 novelettes. So, but I was telling him about how from my first Kickstarter, I was supposed to write a short story as a one of the levels that we reach. I never remember that thing, what it's called. But anyways, ended up being 72,000 stretch goal. Yes. So I ended up writing 72,000 words instead. And so I call it my not short story. So when I said that, he was writing a story. He's like, this is my not so short story. So yes, there we go. Yeah. I'm going for 300 words, but I'm sitting at 198. Boo. I wish I had that problem, Devin.
Yeah, if you can tell a whole story in 198 words, though,
that's good.
That's impressive. I've done a couple of those microfiction competitions.
Yeah.
Write a story in 100 words. It's like, oh, it's so
Very hard. That's like
painful.
4 sentences, maybe 5 sentences, depending on how long your sentences are. Yeah. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end. And let me see to make sure before we wrap up everything, can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on next and when it might come out and any other upcoming events? Because I think you're going to be at a con the following weekend.
Yes. So next weekend, I'm at the Isekai Anime Con in Salt Lake City. I'm going to be sharing booth space with an artist and author friend of mine, Tanya Hales. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't done a con in Utah before, so we'll see how that goes. As for writing, I have a novella coming out. Actually, it's going to come out next Friday to coincide with the con. It's another Cassidyverse story with my, on the science fiction side, first contact, entropy ghosts and other first contact problems. It's a little bit off-center science fiction story. Yes, if you want all my links, the link app has them. That'll take you to all my socials as well as my website and various places you can get my books. You can also just go to my website, which is adamgaffenauthor.com, find out about the books. And what am I working on? I have 3 projects underway right now. One is Dakota Chase's story. That's another heist, which is set. She and her crew decide to take on a casino. She always aims big. Let's see. I have a story that's in the final edits right now. I'll decide what I'm going to do with it later. It's a little outside what I usually do, so we'll see where.
So a little outside of science fiction, fantasy, or romance.
Yeah, I mean, this one is a straight up romance.
Oh, cool.
And then the last project that I've started playing with is another science fiction, far future science fiction. So,
okay.
But there are always other things going on. You never know what's going to pop up.
I feel that way too. I'm like, yeah, this is what I have planned. And they get there and like, yeah, I did have that plan, but now I'm doing this. So always, when it comes to writing, I'm always in different places, and I think I'm going to be, well, but yeah. So all the links for Adam, I did drop them in the chat, but they're also down in the description box. So you can, jump down there and grab them if you missed the live and you catch us on the replay. Yeah. And so thank you so much for joining me again today on Charm Chats, Adam.
A pleasure being here. Thank you so much for having me back.
Yeah. All right. Thank you everyone so much for joining us today. Next on Charm Chats, Happily Ever After Sprints, I have guest author. I think she said I could call her Sud or Sud, or I'm not really sure how you say it. Sudhad Kuragante. I'm probably butchering the name. She'll tell me how you're supposed to say it the next time when she's here. That is in a few days. That's going to be on Saturday. So we do have a few days break from this Charm Chats episodes that are going on this month. And that's going to be February 15th at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget that we are also going to have the AuthorTube Writing Conference live stream on Friday at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern for anyone who is wanting to hear more information about that. And yeah, that will bring us in. Thank you everyone so much. Bye.
I want to tell you something. Don't be scared.
It's midnight, baby, just us two, no bright lights, nothing to prove. Your handshake, mine do too, but it feels right being close to you.
Come closer, don't look away. We both know why you came to stay. Your heartbeat's loud, I hear it too. This moment's our little taboo.
Don't rush it, move slow, feel the heat start to grow. If you want me, let it show. Tell me soft, tell me low. Taboo, taboo.